Welcome once again to Lehto's Law. Here's Steve Lehto.
There will be a brief ad at the end of this video. But first, I did a story not so long ago about refrigerators and how they don't last like they used to. And a lot of people that struck a nerve with. I got so many comments on that video, I was shocked. So there's an update to that story from NBCBayArea.com, and a lot of people sent this to me. Thank you very much. Fridge failures. LG says angry owners can't sue. Company points to cardboard box that the fridge came in and language on that box. And of course, that's not how it works. So we'll see. But the lawyer now has logged thousands of calls. And the lawyer, of course, we're talking about is the lawyer on the class action lawsuit against LG for those refrigerators. Chris Chimura, Stephanie Lucero, Alyssa Gord, and Camille Lopez Rodriguez all contributed to this story. And they tell the story about a man in San Francisco who says he's been dealing with a difficult LG fridge since 2021. This one cost me $2,000, and it's been a nightmare, he said. It's not freezing well. Techs have repeatedly tried to fix it, but haven't. He says he's asked for a replacement or a refund, but that hasn't happened either. I said, that's it. I guess this is the final word. I was ready to give up until I'd seen your program. And he's referring, of course, to the TV station. So they did a recent report about a lawsuit involving some LG and Kenmore refrigerators, as well as a part that LG makes called the linear compressor. And I had quite a few people who chimed into my video and said, Steve, it's the linear compressor, because I don't think that was my original story. But it turns out that might be it. Many viewers in the lawsuit claim the compressor frequently dies long before the 10-year warranty or the 20-year lifespan that LG sometimes advertises. And you got to be real careful about somebody who describes a lifespan for a product that goes beyond their warranty, because the warranty is usually the best you can enforce. And believe it or not, in some states you can't enforce a warranty longer than 4 years because of the statute of limitations. But that's another story for another day. So the TV station focused their story on an LG owner from Redwood City who's had 2 fridges die in just 5 years. She said, unfortunately, we just bought another LG fridge, so I guess that's the definition of insanity, right? So she's on her third one right now. Now, when that story ran, another person from Pleasanton was watching. She had exactly the same LG refrigerator that I had, says this person. When I saw that, I said, now let me contact Chris. So the fridge has required 5 replacement compressors, and the compressor dies like every year, and that's the quote. Well, people like these were contacting the TV station. The phone was ringing off the hook, as they say, at the office of the lawsuit's lead lawyer, Azar Muzari. The attorney says we received thousands of calls in a span of 2 weeks. Thousands. Given that we were aware of how rampant this issue is and how it impacts so many consumers throughout the nation, I'm not surprised. Muzari accuses LG of fraud. She says the company is known for years that refrigerators with the linear compressor regularly die young, but sold them anyway. Muzari says a trial would force LG to make public any internal communication that might reveal what it knows. And trust me, they know a lot, because if they've been repairing these things under warranty, they'll have records of that. LG has not yet directly responded to the allegations made in court in the class action. Instead, is trying to take the dispute behind closed doors and is pointing to the box the refrigerator comes in. You know how it is on Christmas morning when you open up the box with your refrigerator in it? Right now, people are going, wait, refrigerators come in boxes? I mean, of course they do, but most people don't unbox it themselves. So LG says that it put an arbitration notice on the box. It's now asking a federal judge to require individual fridge owners to take their cases to arbitration in private and get rid of this class action nonsense. But owners that were interviewed by a TV station say they never saw the box because delivery people unboxed their fridge. And I'll tell you right now, I've bought a couple refrigerators in the last few years for a variety of reasons. And in other words, they weren't replacing each other, let's put it that way. And in neither instance did I see the box, because the people unboxed it outside and brought the refrigerator into the house and installed it. Never saw the box. They could have put anything in that box, I wouldn't have seen it. So one person here says, I've never seen the box. The box stayed in the truck. Same for another consumer. They opened the box in the driveway. They took the box back. I did not see the box. Third person, no one we talked to ever saw the box. So besides the arbitration notice on the box, LG says it puts notices two other places. One is taped inside the refrigerator and another in the owner's manual. Now, the attorney says, I think that argument fails. Consumers don't have access to an owner's manual until after they've made the purchase, and that's true. They have the right to have an arbitration agreement that you consent to, but consent requires that you know about it and agree with it at the moment that becomes important. So they should actually let you know at the store before you buy it that, by the way, if you buy this, you're stuck with our arbitration. They can't hide it in the product and surprise you, ta-da, when you get it home and you see it taped to your meat drawer or something. To learn more about the arbitration agreements and their legalities, TV station talked to a professor at Santa Clara University School of Law who's been teaching there for 35 years. The professor noted that arbitration agreements are commonplace. They put them into everything. And these days, consumers agree to mandatory arbitration all the time because they click here, sign here, and they don't pay attention to the terms of use that they're agreeing to. But she notes, proper notice is key. Both sides must knowingly agree not to sue. This TV station asked if arbitration notice is printed on a box or taped inside a product or included in a manual that you don't see until after you buy. Give the consumer sufficient notice. The professor noted parallels to a case in which Samsung tried to force arbitration with a notice inside a smartphone box. In that case, the court said exactly what you just asked, which is, was there sufficient notice to the consumer about this clause? Was there actual consent? If you don't know something, how could you ever agree to it? Federal courts nullified the arbitration agreement in that case. Judge has not ruled on the LG case, but the attorney there says the legal maneuvering does nothing to repair people's problem fridges. Instead of fixing the issue, LG decided to allocate those resources into an arbitration provision on a box. So LG told the TV station it does not comment on pending litigation. Spokesperson said our focus on customer satisfaction is paramount. LG noted that its appliances are used in tens of millions of homes across America every day. LG encouraged customers to contact them for help, and of course, see what that gets you. Meanwhile, people like the consumers we mentioned earlier say they have asked for help, and all LG does is send out repair people. And here is the thing. The Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act is the statute that governs this in most cases, meaning that there's a federal statute on the books that talks about consumer warranties in consumer settings when you buy consumer goods. So you buy a refrigerator, if it came with a warranty and you bought it brand new, it's covered by the Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act. Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act says several things, including if the manufacturer cannot repair the item within a reasonable amount of time, they've got to either buy it back or replace it with something that's not defective. However, reasonable is not defined. They don't say 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, which is unfortunate. But it probably varies from item to item, I would assume, was their thinking. But with an automobile, most state lemon laws say you get 3 times or you get 4 times. They give you an exact number, a bright line. That lack of a bright line is a problem. But the Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act also addresses the contents of the warranties, the contents of any disclaimers, if any, and then also the disclosures required for the disclaimers to be valid. And there was a time when it was not uncommon that somebody would sell you something that was inside a box that was wrapped in plastic. And think of electronics. And you take it home, you peel the plastic off, you open the box up, you pull out a big old owner's manual, and a thing falls out and it goes, arbitration agreement. You agree by buying this item that you will arbitrate any claims you have with us and never sue us. You agree to that by buying this item. Well, you've already bought the item. And how could you have agreed to that as you buy the item unless it's disclosed to you at that time? And so there was a move by the Federal Trade Commission and others to push the manufacturers towards, if you're going to wrap the box in plastic, you got to put something that people can see on the outside of the box at least, if nothing else, to warn them. Now, I'm sure LG is going to say, yeah, we did that. We did that. We put the warning right on the box, knowing full well in this industry that the box is something that most consumers do not see. You certainly cannot count on that as something they're likely to see. So the replacement fridge or the refund check is what these people all want. One consumer said, it's eating at me. And the TV station asked LG to review these concerns, and they said that they are doing that, but they don't comment on pending litigation. So you can visit the law firm's website, and if you've got an LG refrigerator that's been in through multiple repair attempts, you might want to follow up on that. But that is the problem. And I've gotten these calls. I don't handle them anymore. I spend my time focusing on lemon law, which is automobiles. But I used to get so many calls from people and emails from people, and I get them from all over the country, sadly. People who bought big consumer items for their home. Refrigerators, stoves, freezers, ovens, microwaves, you name it. Big items. And you go to a store, you drop a lot of money, you spend a lot of time picking out the right one, making sure it's going to fit, all that stuff. And you get it delivered and installed, and 6 months down the road, something goes wrong with it. Sometimes sooner than that. And you call who you bought it, they connect you with somebody else. Next thing you know, somebody else is out there. It's quite often, it's a contract person. It's not somebody who works directly for LG, for instance. And they show up and they go, oh, your linear compressor is bad. I don't have one on the truck. I will order one and get back out here. And a few weeks later, they show back up out with the linear compressor, and they replace it. And then they wave, and everybody wishes, everybody hopes that the fridge is going to be fixed, and quite often it's not. And it went bad again, and it would appear, after it happens a few times, that it isn't the part's fault. It's a design problem. And I've talked before about this. Every now and then we hear about a problem with a vehicle. In my field we do. Where a bunch of people call and say, I've got this problem with this vehicle. Somebody else calls, I got this problem with this vehicle. And occasionally we see it where if you were to graph all the problems we get by vehicles, makes, model, year, all that, you'd see a spike. You'd see a spike with one particular problem. And I can tell you in the 33 years now I've been practicing law that we would know, like, oh, have you had a bunch of these in your office? Yes, let me guess, they've all got bad brakes. A bunch of these, let me guess, they've all got bad transmissions. A bunch of these, yeah, they've all got bad electronics in the infotainment center. And so when this many people complain about the exact same thing wrong with this exact same item from this one manufacturer, it's a design problem. It's got to be. And so one of my favorite stories to tell, and this is a true story, was a client I represented whose car went through 7 engines. The engines would explode. The engine would explode. They're not getting bad engines off the shelf. They're not. There's something else going on there, okay? And so if they put in a new linear compressor and it goes bad, and they put in another linear compressor and it goes bad, okay, at this point, the insanity is not the people who bought these things. It's the repair people who are putting in the exact same thing that keeps going bad, because that's not going to fix it. So, you've seen the ads on TV about the lonely repairman for the big appliance company. You got the exact opposite going on right here. You've got a repair climate where the people who are working in it know, today I'm going to go out and repair a bunch of these. Tomorrow, repair a bunch of these. Next week, a bunch of these. And by the way, a couple months down the road, I'll come back and repair the same ones over again. So I guess it might not be a bad gig to be repairing these, but think of the people you have to face who are upset. And when you show up to repair these things, you're the face of the company, even though you might not be a direct employee, like I said. So the real problem is they sell something with a 10-year warranty, a 10-year warranty. And the complaint is that if you call with the same thing over and over again, they simply send somebody out who does the exact same repair. And you shouldn't have to put up with that for 10 years. That's why the Magnuson-Moss Warranty Act is there. That's why it's there. So this is a scary concept. The last time I talked about refrigerators, we talked about Kenmore, for instance, and how some of those refrigerators outlived the homes they were in, okay? They lasted forever. Somehow, we've gone full circle or something. Now we're back to where they last a few months, a few years, but they don't survive their warranty period very well, and that's an ugly concept. So the fridge failures, LG now is saying you can't sue them because the box that your refrigerator came in, whether you saw it or not, had an arbitration clause on the outside of the box. And by the way, I have to tell you this. There are lawyers who've been consulted by big companies. So there's a lawyer at LG who was asked, can we make these people arbitrate these claims? And the lawyer said, yeah, sure you can. Of course you can. How do we do that? Well, you put an arbitration clause in something they see before the purchase. Okay, will that scare off any buyers? It might. So if I'm shopping and I see two refrigerators, there's an LG right here and there's a Maytag right here, and the Maytag's got no arbitration provision and the LG does, everything else is the same, person might go, I don't want to arbitrate, I'm going to go here. It might not be that big of an incentive, but it's something. And so the reason they put disclaimers where they're unlikely to be found until later is they know that some people will hesitate. And they also know that some people will go, oh, I guess I can't sue because I've got this arbitration clause here. But of course, it only applies to people who actually saw it because so many people never saw this in the first place. And they've got to know that. So that's crazy. But from NBCBayArea.com, Chris Chimura, Stephanie Lucero, Alyssa Gord, and Camille Lopez Rodriguez all worked on that. The lawyer has logged thousands of calls who's handling this case. And that, of course, is the fridge failures. LG saying angry owners can't sue because of what was written on the cardboard box the refrigerator came in. Questions or comments? Put them below. Let's talk to you later. Bye-bye. I mentioned at the top that there'd be a brief ad at the end of the video. And I'm here to talk to you about Lumino. And I've talked to you about them before. They make a bunch of great products. And of course, in 2014, Dr. Karush Madahi embarked on a journey to revolutionize oral care, driven by his experience as one of America's top dentists and his commitment to providing uncompromising care. And so here's the thing. The guy's a dentist. He's looking around at what products he can recommend for his clients and, of course, what products he can use for himself. And he's not happy with what he sees in the marketplace. So decides, you know something? I'm going to step up and I'm going to take care of this myself. So in rejection of artificial flavors, dyes, harsh chemicals, and preservatives, he's decided to use certified non-toxic and microbiome safe things like Dead Sea salt, coconut, lemon peel, and he offers products for whitening, tooth sensitivity, bad breath, dry mouth, and all designed to be good for you and also won't damage like the enamel in your teeth. And so the first product I mentioned before was the Lumino toothbrush. And this thing's really cool. I've mentioned it before. It's a very, very comfortable design. It's got the head here is replaceable, and these are biodegradable products that it's made out of, so it won't fill the landfill with stuff that we have to worry about forever. It's got several different speeds on it. It's, of course, cordless and rechargeable, and I use this thing, and I really like it. I've tried other electric toothbrushes before in my life, and I never quite got the hang of it. They were either not comfortable, they weren't handy, and they just fell by the wayside. And so when I got this, I thought, well, I'll give it a try. And it turns out I've been using it ever since I got it. And I love this thing. So this is a great toothbrush. And I talked about that particularly in a couple previous videos I've done for Lumino. But they have other products. And so they've got a whole line of stuff for whitening your teeth. And I'm going to tell you right now, among other things, they've got a whitening toothpaste, which I've been using now for a couple weeks. And also, they've got these whitening strips. Now, I'm not sure if you ever tried whitening strips before, but a lot of companies make whitening strips. And that's a little plastic strip. You put one on your bottom teeth and one on your top teeth, and you leave them there for a half hour. And you do that once a day for a period of time, and eventually your teeth start getting whiter. And I've used them before from other companies, and one of the problems with them is they often taste chemically. They taste like chemicals, okay? And although they would work, it was always a relatively mildly unpleasant experience. And so I would use them and so when Lumino sent me some of these certified non-toxic whitening strips, I thought, oh, I'll try these because I like the toothpaste and I like these. Turns out these are good also. I mean, and by that I mean that you put them on, they're very, very easy to use. And they taste good. I mean, it's not like... I'm so used to the idea about putting on these strips and walking around for half an hour going, ugh. No, they're fine. And so I actually, in the morning, after I shoot my videos, I put these in, and I set a timer for half an hour. Half an hour later, boom, I take them out. And I forget they're there, but also it's not an unpleasant taste. And that's one of the important things that, it's the little things that make such a big difference on whether you're going to use something regularly or not. So once a day, 7 days, I just finished 7 days of this, and I've actually noticed my teeth getting whiter. I've been doing that along with the whitening toothpaste, and they've got a whitening mouthwash too. They got a whole package of stuff here. Whitening mouthwash. And again, these are all ingredients that they've gone through and look specifically that they're good for you and they will accomplish the purpose. So I've been using all of these things. So I was talking to my folks here about what we're going to do on a commercial on Lehto's Law. And I said, could we bundle some of these things together and maybe do like a package deal? And they said, we like the way you think, Steve. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put together a package where you can get 20% off. 20% off a package that includes the Lumino toothbrush, the whitening kits, and that includes the 7 treatments of whitening strips, the mouthwash, and the toothpaste. So all of those things bundled together, the toothbrush, the strips, the toothpaste, and the mouthwash, you'll get all of that. And at 20% off, that'll come in at under $100. That's a pretty good deal. So the key is you got to click the link in the description below the video. You click that link, it'll take you straight to the page where you can get that deal. But, like I said before, it's a lot of the little stuff that you don't really stop to think about. And so, again, the strips don't taste chemically. That's I know that people who've never tried the other strips are going, what are you talking about? No, if you've tried the type of strips that you go buy just by some major brand, they have a chemical taste to them. So you're sitting there for half an hour with that. No, these right here are fine. You put them in, you forget they're there. And then half an hour later, you take them out. And one thing I also like to point out is how cool all their packaging is. And you might say, but Steve, really, packaging? No. You have to understand, some company that puts this much care into the products and makes the packaging look this nice, they put that much care into everything they do. They really do. But the toothbrush, like I said, it's designed well. It's comfortable. Again, I use it. I've tried electric toothbrushes in the past. They didn't do it for me. And why? A bunch of little things. But it turns out now that I use this, I wouldn't give this one up. I like this toothbrush that much. The mouthwash tastes good. It works. And I like that also. And the whitening strips. Like I said, you do that and they work and they're good. And the same with the toothpaste. So I've been using all of these things now for the last couple of weeks. I have noticed that my teeth appear whiter. Now, I'm not going to get here with a bunch of close-ups of my mouth because I don't think anybody wants to see that. But the point is that all of these products work. All of these products are made specifically by a dentist who is very, very well renowned. And he specifically wants to avoid the things like the artificial flavors, the dyes, the chemicals, and preservatives, and instead is using things that are certified non-toxic, microbiome safe, and using things like Dead Sea salt and coconut and lemon peel oil, and they work. That's the point, is that they work. And so somebody actually sat down, did all the chemistry on this, and came up with the formulas that work. And all I can tell you is that I use them. They work. I've noticed the difference. And so I said, guys, let's put together a package of just teeth whitening. So that's what I've been focusing on the last week or two with all of their products. And I decided to ask them to put together a package that would benefit you as well with respect to teeth whitening as the goal. So click the link in the bio below or the first pinned comment, and you will get 20% off. And this is the Lumino toothbrush and whitening kit that includes the toothbrush right here, 7 treatments of whitening strips right here, the mouthwash right here, and the toothpaste right here. and you will notice results because I got good results as well. Thank you very much. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching Lehto's Law. You can't just give up. Is that what a dinosaur would do?